Mr. Brown. Welcome to the Convent of St. Vincent's Academy. Come on in. You are now in the kitchen of the Sisters of Mercy. This was their kitchen for many, many years. And as you can see, when the sisters moved out about 3 years ago, they left a few things. They promised they'd be back, but we have yet to see them, and they have yet to have a need for these boxes. So these boxes will be gone. But this kitchen will remain, and this will be a break room for our new renovation. But for many years, the sisters used this as their kitchen. And now we're moving into the dining area. This area is kind of the land of the leftover furniture right now. But this area was the dining area for the sisters, and it overlooks the beautiful Liberty Street here. These two windows are almost from the ceiling to the floor. They're absolutely beautiful. They let in so much natural light. But at one time, we had as many as 35 sisters living in this space. And you'll see when we enter the hallway, the living quarters of all of the sisters. This space that you just saw with all this furniture is going to be turned into a conference area. And we hope to have state-of-the-art technology in this space. So this first room is a restroom that the sisters used, very out of date. And 2 years ago when the sisters moved out of the convent, that was the first time that I ever came up to the residence. And I was shocked that the sisters never asked to update any of this space. So we have quite a lot of work with updating this very old space. Needs a lot of love and a lot of work. So this view really gives you a great perspective of just how much space we have. We are standing midway between Liberty Street and Lincoln Street on this side. And we are about a city block from Abercorn. So I'm going to take you on a little walk, and you're going to see the rooms that were the sisters' cells. So in this first room, you'll see these beautiful hardwood floors. Most of the rooms have these built-in seats, bench seats by the windows. And you'll see the beautiful view of the side of the cathedral. Every room here, you'll see, was very, very small, had a closet, a bed, and a sink. And I was told that the sisters never had mirrors in their rooms. That was something the sisters just did not have, of course, because they're so humble and certainly not vain. And so mirrors were not put in till almost the 90s, which is kind of hard to believe. And if you see these little split rooms right here, you'll see some built-ins for the closets. And again, another sink. Beautiful original hardwoods. So these cells that we're in right now, these are actually going to be combined and made into classrooms. We've been working with Christian Sotil and the 1845 Foundation Board, and they have constructed that beautiful template for us that is going to be this new space. And that's something that I shared with you when I came to Charlotte to visit. You'll notice all of the original historic hardware. This is something that we will maintain, of course. And we're going to do everything we can to preserve the historic integrity of this space. You'll notice at one time, these windows were exterior windows. Those will be maintained as well. And these beautiful arches, Christian Sotil, who's a historic preservationist, actually peeled back some of that paneling, and there's beautiful exposed brick that's original. And thankfully, this carpet has protected the original hardwoods. But again, more cells on this side. And again, these will be combined to make classrooms. We hope to have 5 classrooms here, conference space, break space, and also office space. I think that any student would be privileged to come to this school and also to be able to have classes here in this historic space. If these walls could talk, I'm sure they'd tell amazing stories. And again, a beautiful view of the cathedral. This side of the building truly is just such a blessing, and This side, as far as classroom space, you know, we always say if you're going to daydream out the window, that's a beautiful spot to look at. The spires of the cathedral. As you can tell, these rooms are chopped up and they're kind of divided. But at one time, as I said, there were so many sisters that lived here. At the very end, there were only 2 sisters that lived in this huge space. There's no easy way to get here. There's no elevator at this time. And that's going to be another huge undertaking for us to get an elevator from the main floor all the way up to the 3rd floor. So it's handicap accessible. And so also all of the teachers and students can get up easily to the space. The room, this very little narrow hallway that we're about to go down, this is the telephone room. And when the sisters lived here, they had 1 telephone, and this was the telephone room. And for privacy, they were allowed 2 telephone calls a week, and they would shut both doors and speak on the phone. So you noticed as we came through the kitchen area, there was a restroom off of that main dining area. This is the only other community restroom that the sisters would have to use. You'll see an original clawfoot tub, which I'm sure is a treasure that we will have to keep. And again, a beautiful view of our historic cathedral. This restroom will be maintained. We will keep this restroom, but of course restore it, because with office space and classroom space, we'll need an area for common breaks. So as we're moving down here, these spaces will be more towards the Abercorn Street, and these will be office spaces. We also have an entrance here that off of the Abercorn Street. So when we have meetings, you'll see that as we go around the corner, there'll be a large area that we will have meetings that people from the outside or our board can use. So on the 2 ends will be meeting space, the kitchen area, and then this Abercorn Street side, another meeting area. This is one of my favorite views. Absolutely spectacular. And to hear the bells, it's a blessing every single day. We're about to walk into the last cell and a community room. But before we do, I think it's really important to note this double-sided fireplace. This is an original piece, and this certainly will be preserved. This room is a community room that when the sisters would pray in the mornings or in the evenings, they would gather here together. And in later years, it was very interesting to me because this was their television room or their family room. And when there were only 2 sisters still living here, they would like to, they didn't like to eat in the kitchen. They would bring their meals and they would come and eat in this room. And they laughed because they would always say it's a city block to get from the kitchen all the way into this room, and their food would get cold by the time they were here. You'll see these chairs that were here. And this is because the sisters, you know, this is their home, and for so many years on St. Patrick's Day, they would enjoy looking out the window and watch the parade come down Abercorn Street. And so even now, without any furniture in this space, we've brought up some chairs, and the tradition for the last 2 years is that they still enjoy the parade up here in their home. The sisters have been so gracious and so very reliant on us to continue the legacy of the Sisters of Mercy. 2 years ago when they handed me the keys, I felt such a responsibility to continue this legacy. So we are so prayerful that partners like you will come and join us on the journey and allow in their lifetime for this dream to be realized for them, for the girls to be able to be in this space and for us to use this and to revitalize this to something really special. This to me is the most key spot in this whole convent space. I always look at this corner right here. on Liberty and Abercorn. And if you look down, you see the statue of Catherine Macaulay that we dedicated several years ago. And this is where, in 1845, when the sisters from Charleston came, this is the exact location where the convent started. And so, to me, this is so special right here in this moment, and such a responsibility for us to continue the legacy. There's one more little area back here that was an add-on. And we hope that this area can be maintained as storage, because in a school building, of course, and being landlocked in an urban setting like we are, we have very limited storage space. And so ideally this would be a lovely storage space to the back, and maybe a small office towards the window. So this is our lovely convent space. We are so prayerful that this is going to be a project that we can complete within 2 years. When I look out the glass panes, these are the original panes. And a lot of times if it's a windy day, you hear the panes rattling, and that's part of the charm of the building, but something that certainly we would like to preserve if at all possible. Even on a dreary day like today, this is such a beautiful view. As we walk back through, we can stand kind of back, and this is almost at the Abercorn entrance, and just see the scope of how much space we have. And this is so unusual in a city like Savannah to have this much downtown space. So we're blessed, we're fortunate, and it's our responsibility to take good care of it. And now as we exit, we are going to go down what we call our golden staircase. And please take special note of the beautiful stained glass as we walk out. You'll probably hear some students. This was the actual staircase that the sisters used as they were coming and going, because that was their residence. But if you look down this beautiful black and white hallway, this is what we call our Heritage Hall. And we actually have classrooms and our libraries here too, as well as computer lab. So this space is all usable, and we hope that with this renovation that the residents can be an add-on and that the girls can use this space. So this concludes the tour. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please let me know. This is a special sacred space, and I hope to talk to you soon. Take care and feel better.